Today is our day. It's our time together. And I don't know why every morning I forget, right, to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to have to remember to do that. But good morning, everyone. Hey, Reba, thank you so much for joining. Hey, Miss Carol. We all know what time it is. It's our time to win. And that's why we are on the call each and every morning. We are here for the entire month of February. 28 days of accountability. Good morning, Terrell. Thank you so much for joining every day. I appreciate you. Good morning, Coach Y. B. Coach Y to the B this morning. It's our time, y'all. It's our time to win. It's our time to shine. And that's how we're starting each and every morning going forward until we get to day 28. And guess what today is? It's the halfway mark. We are halfway there. We're halfway there. We only have 14 more days to go. So we are on our track, we're on our trail, and we have been doing good thus far. So I am so glad to have everyone that continues to join every day. Thank you so much for joining. Today is day 14 out of 28 days. And we've been talking about accountability and how do we get ourselves accountable to who? To ourselves. It's what we've been talking about. So we will continue to talk about that every day and what we need to put in place to make sure that we remain accountable. Just meaning that we remain responsible to ourselves. So thank you to everyone that continues to join each and every day. Even I know it sometimes you don't feel like it because God knows there are some days I'm like, what made me commit to go live 28 days? Ooh, talk about accountability, right? Thank you to Miss Maddie, my cousin. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. So today on day 14, we're going to be talking about reviewing your progress. It's time to review your progress. So that's what we're going to be talking about, how I review my progress. Actually why I should review my progress and what does it mean and why is that important? So for those of you, you know how we start this off every day. For those of you all who don't know me, my name is Ebony Moncho and I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers how to build success. And I do that by helping them to create structure, develop processes, and implement solutions that are what? Sustainable, because that's what's important. You can have a solution, but if it doesn't sustain your business, if it doesn't bring you a return on your investment, it's important to have that ROI, then that is not a feasible or viable solution. So we have to have things that sustain our business. So thank you again to everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I hope you have your pen and your pad, your journal, your notebook, whatever it is that you've been keeping all of your information in, and I hope you're putting it all in one place so that way when these 28 days are over and you are on your track alone of accountability and goal smashing, as we talked about, goal completion, you can go back and look over each day and determine what it is that you need to do to keep yourself moving. So when we talk about tracking progress, right, we naturally become more purposeful about the work that we do. So when we are tracking our progress, it is just innate. It's something that automatically happens. It is inevitable that when we are tracking our progress, that we become more purposeful about what it is that we are doing. That work that we're trying to accomplish, it becomes a more purposeful journey when we start to track our progress. So evaluation of our goals, evaluation of our progress should be something that we plan throughout our goal completion. If you start on day one and if your goal is going to take you 90 days or 1 year to accomplish, you should have an evaluation somewhere along the line. You can do it on a monthly basis. It's some of us that need to evaluate our progress on a weekly basis. And some people evaluate their goals at the very longest on a quarterly basis. So you can decide between weekly, monthly, or quarterly, depending on how much accountability you need to have. And you have to be honest with yourself to determine how many check-ins do I need? How much do I need to evaluate and reassess my progress in order for me to stay committed to completing my goal? So it can be, again, weekly, it can be monthly, or it can be on a quarterly basis, right? And the more we assess our progress, we are able to see the impact of the strategies that we have put in place. And then it'll also allow us to visually see our progress, how much we've accomplished thus far. And so for some people, weekly may not be enough, especially if you're not putting weekly goals in place. That means that you have to be very committed to the process. You have to have a day to yourself where you are actually writing down goals that you want to complete on a weekly basis. So you have your larger goal that you have set for yourself. I want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. That may be your larger goal. And then on a weekly basis, you have smaller goals that you have set aside. So maybe week 1, you say, I want to fast for 7 days just to kind of jumpstart my progress. So then at the end of that week 1, you go back and assess whether or not if you were able to stay committed to fasting for 7 days. And then on the next week, you may say, I want to work out twice this week. So then at the end of that week, you go back and assess if you were able to work out twice that week. So that is what it looks like if it's on a weekly basis. You may say, I want to assess my progress on every 30 days. So you may say at the end of a 30-day period, I want to have lost 5 pounds or 10 pounds. So then you are assessing every 30 days to see if you have lost those 10 pounds. So that is why it's important, because if we are not moving, if we are not progressing, then we may need to go back to the drawing board to figure out what we need to do different in order to get us moving. Now, sometimes we'll notice that there are some small results that we see along the way, and it may not be as much as we would like to see. So that will require us to tweak, to change our plan slightly, just so we can adjust the outcome. You ever made Kool-Aid before? You usually have that process down pat. You put in either 1 pack or 2 packs of Kool-Aid. If you are like me, when I was growing up, when I used to make Kool-Aid, I always had to have a pack of lemonade. I don't care what flavor of Kool-Aid I was making, but I had to add a pack of lemonade to it. And so some of us, we have that scoop process down of how many scoops of sugar, but you had to taste it. Right? As you poured scoops of sugar in and adding water, you had to taste it to make sure that you had that final end result, that final taste that you were looking for. For those of you all who cook, you do the same thing. The final end result is, chicken stir fry or whatever it is that you're making. But along the way, you are checking in to make sure, do you have enough salt? Do you have enough pepper? Did you add enough onion? And so that's the same thing with our goals in life. We have to check in periodically to make sure that our end result is going to be something that is pleasing to us. Something that something that we love to taste, something that our eyes will be proud to see, right? So we want to make sure that we check in so that way we can tweak or slightly adjust what we're doing so that way our outcome will be what it is that we're looking for, right? And then sometimes we may figure out that if we change our approach slightly, it may change our results completely. So that's why it's important to make sure that we continue to check in, because we don't want to change the course midway through. And you know what? It may be sometimes that maybe life happens so much that we may have to change what our goal is. We may have to tweak it just a little bit. Not saying that we completely give up on it, but we may have to tweak it along the way. And that's why, again, we have to review our progress. Now, evaluation is something that it's a worthwhile activity because it helps keep you honest. It keeps you honest about all of your efforts, right? And it can reveal holes that we have in our plan. And then it can inspire you to keep going, even when you notice that there are moderate results that are happening. Because some of us, we have in our minds a goal that we want to see even on a weekly basis. And sometimes when we look at our progress and we don't see that we are reaching that level, reaching that modicum on a weekly basis, then we get discouraged. But that's why we are checking in. So that way, when those feelings begin to arise, we don't let it go too far or too long, because if we do, then you know how we are. We'll just put that thing off and just say, you know what, I forget it. I don't want to do that anymore because it's not yielding me the return on my investment that I thought it was going to get. I fasted for 2 weeks and then I step on the scale and I've only lost 5 pounds. You mean to tell me that I gave up popcorn? And for those of you all who know me, you know that I love popcorn. So you mean to tell me I gave up popcorn for 2 weeks, right? And I'm on this liquid only fast and I step on the scale. I'm thinking that I'm going to have lost at least 10 pounds and I've only lost 5. No, right? I'm not going to want to continue to do it. So I have to check in, because maybe, drinking one smoothie and eating 2 meals a day is not the right plan for me. Maybe I need to drink 2 smoothies, and instead of eating a full meal, maybe I need to eat a salad. So there are some slight adjustments that I may need to make in order to put myself in a position where I am more productive than ever. So here we go. Here are our 3 reasons why we should track our progress. Do you have your pen and your pads ready? Because I want you to have this information. That way, when you go back and you're on this journey by yourself and you're trying to figure out, why should I be tracking my progress again? You can go back and you can look at the 3 reasons that we talked about, and hopefully that will motivate you to continue to track your progress. So the first reason why you want to track your progress is because it silences your inner critic. When we track our progress, we are able to silence our inner critic. And we all have that inner critic. Each one of us. I do, you do. Everybody has an inner critic. And when we are tracking our goal progress, it helps us to silence that voice, right? That voice that told you that you would not be able to accomplish this anyway. The voice that told you that they didn't understand why you even set out with this goal in mind, because there was no way with the tools and with the resources, with the support system that you have, that you would be able to accomplish the goal anyway. It was a crazy thought in the beginning. Why would you think that you, out of all people, would be able to do this? You've never been able to do anything before in your life. So why would you be able to do that, right? So we track our progress so we can silence that inner critic. The more we see ourselves progress and accomplish one task after another, then we are able to silence that person on the inside of us that's telling us not to start in the first place. It gives us strength. I want you to get this part. Silencing your inner critic gives you the strength that you need to live the unlived life that is within you. You are able to live that unlived life that is within you, because we all have something on the inside of us that we are striving towards. But sometimes fear and sometimes that inner voice stops us and prohibits us from moving forward. So when we are tracking our goal progression, we are able to live that unlived life that is within us. I thought that thing was good, right? On number 2, it kills procrastination. And there are some of us who procrastinate. Y'all, I know sometimes I do, especially when it comes to my homework. I'm in a doctoral program for organizational leadership, and I always procrastinate when it comes to my homework. I wait until the very last minute to do my homework. I know that the courses are only 8 weeks long, and I know there's a paper that's due every Sunday, but Lord have mercy. Y'all know I wait until the 7th week to want to go back and do 8 papers all in 1 week. Why? Why do I do that to myself? Why do I put myself under that type of pressure? So when we track our goals, when we track our progress, then it kills procrastination. The more you feel a sense of progress, the more motivated and productive we become. The more motivated and the more productive we become. So maybe what I should do is at the beginning of each quarter, at the beginning of each class, I should get me a checklist, and I should put down every paper, every assignment that's due, and set it somewhere so I can see it every day, and then make myself a plan, on an action plan on how I am going to accomplish and tackle my homework on a weekly basis. That's it, Ebony. Speak to yourself. Speak to yourself. And then the third reason why we should track our progress is because it provides clarity. And how many people want to see clearly, right? How many of us want to be able to see what the end is going to look like? There are sayings that say we should start with the end in mind. So we want to be able to see clearly. That clarity is important. So at the end of the day, this is what I want you to do. At the end of every day, I want you to take just 5 minutes. Who can give me 5 minutes out of every day? If you can commit to giving me 5 minutes out of every day, at the end of your day, you can give me 5 minutes every day. I want you to raise your hand up. You know that hand, that emoji sign that looks like this. If you can commit to giving me 5 minutes at the end of every day, I want you to raise that hand up that you have on your keyboard. If you can commit to giving me 5 minutes every day, that's all I ask for. It's just 5 minutes at the end of every day, because what I want you to do in that journal that you have, that you've been taking your notes from, I want you to take a few minutes, just 5 minutes, to write what you worked on that day, right? Take 5 minutes at the end of your day, jot down what you wrote, what you worked on that day. You can have your pen, you can have your pad already sectioned off, where you're going to talk about small wins and any setbacks, right? Just take, if at the beginning of your week, if you have your planning day, let that be Saturday or Sunday, right? And you can already write out your next 6 days, right? And you can date them. And at the top, you can say small wins. And at the bottom, you can list setbacks. And so what I want you to do at the end of every day, just take 5 quick minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. And I want you to jot down any small wins you had that day. You know, any small wins. I made it to the gym today and I worked out 30 minutes, right? Any setbacks. Oh my God, it was raining so bad today and I just didn't feel like getting out the bed. So I didn't make it to the gym today. But jot down very quickly your small wins and your setbacks, right? And then that way, at the end of the month, when we go back to review our goals, when we go back to review our progress, you can flip back through each one of those days and you can see how far you've come, right? And then that will provide you so much clarity, because when we're thinking about the whole purpose of reviewing our goals is so we can make adjustments along the way. There is no way we can remember what we do consistently on a 30-day period. It's hard for me to remember what I did yesterday. So I need to jot down so that way I can go back, and it helps me to be honest with myself, right? So I'll be able to have this clarity when I can go back and see on the 30-day period what my wins were, what my setbacks were, because as I'm reviewing my goals, it then helps me determine where I need to make adjustments, because that's the whole purpose, right? And us reviewing our goals is so we can make adjustments. And if I can look back on a 30-day period and say, okay, I did this, I did that. Oh man. Oh wow. I didn't do this. I didn't get that done. Then we can think about why we didn't get that done on that day. Or if we see a consistent trend of what has been working, the thing that we put in place that worked the majority of the time, then we know that that's something that we need to continue doing. We need to put that on repetition. If it's something that we see that we've been doing and it's been working the majority of the time, we know we need to keep doing that thing. We need to keep doing that thing, because the purpose of this is so we can cross that finish line that we talked about yesterday. We are all on a marathon run. We're all marathon racers. So the point is, we're in the race already. We have goals. We've already started. The gun has already went off. The first bullet was shot already. So we want to make sure that now we are running the race. Our goal is to get to the finish line. So we have to review our progress. What I want to leave you with this morning is the thought and the saying and the understanding that we must inspect what we expect. And when I came across that during my study time, I'm like, oh my God, that is so key. We must inspect what we expect. And that just means we're looking at, am I moving forward? Am I standing still? Am I losing ground? What changes can I make to ensure my success? We have to inspect what we expect. If you didn't write down anything else that I've talked about today, this morning, write that down. You have to inspect what you expect. That is a life lesson that when we employ this in our daily lives, we can create a meaningful change. We can create a meaningful change, because what we're doing is the things that we expect to happen out of life. If we are checking for those things, if we are trying to determine what's going on, if you ever seen a factory, inside of a factory, before a product goes out to you, each and every item that they make, they inspect those things. That is a position in the factory, an inspector, because it's their job to make sure each widget, each nail, each door, each car door, no matter what it is, they have to inspect those things to make sure that they are working properly, making sure that they are functioning. So that's what we have to do in life. We have to make sure that what our end result is, what we expect to happen, what we're looking for to happen in our lives, that we are inspecting it along the way, because we don't want to wait until we get to the finish line to then find out that, oh my God, everything that I've done up to this point, there was a cog in the wheel somewhere, and I was so focused, or I had such a tunnel vision over here that I didn't see that the machine had stopped working over there. So that's what it is. When you think about reviewing your progress, think about the fact that you are inspecting what you expect to happen in the end. And I promise you that when you do that, it's going to help you grow not only personally, it's going to help you grow professionally, it's going to help you grow spiritually, it's going to help you grow financially, and it's going to help you grow mentally. And lastly, it's going to help you grow emotionally. So that way you can reach your full and ultimate potential. So that's what I want you to leave here today with the understanding that we are reviewing our progress so that we can inspect what we expect out of life. Again, thank you all so very much for joining me each and every morning at 7:30 a.m. It feels like 8 because we go for 30 minutes, even though I say it's only going to be 15, right? But thank you so much for joining each and every morning. I do hope that something is said that you are able to add to your journal, that you are able to take a nugget and apply it to your life so that way you reach your full potential. Remember, we are building winners here, and we are building those who understand that it is our time. 2019 is our time to win. For again, my name is Ebony Moncho. I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers how to build success. And we do that by creating structure, developing processes, and implementing solutions that are sustainable. It is your time to shine.